Greetings, fellow Unity users. This is Phoenix Talon back to you again with part 5 of the Easy Mover Editor Scripting tutorial series. This can be kind of an interesting video, I hope, as my plan is to get through the info box and scaling and show you how to make things change sizes and all that kind of good stuff. So without further delay, let's jump right into making a box. Okay, so we want to make an info box, something like we had on the other one where you had the little check block and it would go ahead and display the box. Now, if we have a check block, that also means that we're going to have a boolean, okay? And where that means we're going to need a variable. So let's go ahead and name this one, oddly enough, show info. All right. So show info, we haven't made show info yet, have we? Well, let's go ahead and make show info. So we'll come up here, and again, you can reorganize your variables however you want. I'm just going to give it a little space, throw show info in there, and tab that on over. Like I said before, this is a boolean, if I can spell correctly. And for now, we're going to have this equal to false. Now the reason is that we don't want it to just start showing the boxes by default, right? So show info is our boolean, and what we're going to go ahead and do is start the GUI. So GUI dot, and what we're making is called a toggle. Okay, if you ever know what a checkbox is, it's called a toggle. So we're going to make that. Now, just like we did before, it's looking for a rectangle with a string inside. So we're going to go ahead and give it exactly that. And our rectangle is going to be, let's say, what was it? 3 off the side. Now, the reason I do 3 is it just gives it that little extra bit of margin. Let's put this right on the top. So, say 15. And then this is where I want to show you this width thing. All right, now in window or in making these windows, you can go. They have positions, just like just like the transforms that we play around with when we're moving things around. So you can actually say position.width, meaning the window or the width of the window, right? Its position. All right. So we're going to do that, and you know what? We're going to be using this 30 or 20 or whatever we're going to call it. Actually, I like 20. We're going to be using that a lot. So why don't we go ahead and make a variable for that? Normal height. I think that's pretty easy to remember. And that is going to be a float, not a flout, a float. And there we go. We're going to set that equal to 20. And there. All right, so that'll make this a little easier to play with. All right, so we'll replace that one with that one, and that one with that one. Okay. That at least gives us some kind of a standard to go off of. Now, the other thing, too, is since this is already starting 15 down and normal height is already 20, we want to go ahead and move that down a little further. So what would that be about? Oh, hell, doesn't matter. Just call it 50. We'll come fix that later. All right, so we've got a rectangle started here, or made rather, and it's going to ask us for that boolean again. All right, the one from the very front, because here's an interesting thing about toggles. All right, when you click on this toggle here, which is show info, it sets this boolean right here to true or false, whichever one you're clicking on for it. Okay, so you can throw in right here multiple booleans. That's how I did the other toggles, where one would go off and one would go on. So I'll show you how to do that. if you're not following along with my meaning. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on it right now. And then we're looking for a string, meaning what the title of this is going to be, and we're going to call it show info. All right, that way we do exactly what we want to. We're going to close that out and count the parentheses. There's 1, 2 there, and 2 there. Okay, so we're good on parentheses. All right, and then we should be good after that. I'll show you what the rest of this is going to be here in a second. So let's just see if our toggle showed up. And this should move down, and there's our toggle. Okay, and what I'm doing when I click this is I'm actually doing nothing except setting show info, the variable, to true or false. Okay, so too easy on that. Let's go ahead and continue on. All right, now we need to make the box. Like, what if show info is true? Then we want the box. All right, so we'll say if, and do this, curlies and parentheses. Okay, if show info is true, then we're going to go ahead and what do we want to do? Well, we want to show our info box, right? All right, so we're going to call on the editor editor GUI class, which is what I was trying to say. And what we're going to call it is a help box. Now, there's a few of these. There's a few of these types of boxes out there. There's warnings, help, and so on. And you'll see what they are if you want to look that up. But we're going to continue on, and we're going to make a rectangle. And then it's asking for a rectangle size. And our rectangle size is, again, going to be the 3. If you haven't figured out by now, you just kind of do a lot of little random placement of stuff. So this will be 40, give or take. And then we want the same one we used before, the position dot width, meaning the width of the window. We're gonna not use normal height because we don't know how high this is going to be yet. Okay, so for our example, we're just going to go ahead and put 100 in here, and then down here, so we don't overlap, we're going to throw 100 right on the front of that one. All right, now that doesn't automatically make the box. You still got to put something in the box, and the thing that goes in the box right now goes into this parenthesis with a comma, and give yourself some room, because this is actually where you start writing what it is that you're going to make. So we'll say random info goes here, blah 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 dot dot dot. Okay, so random info goes in there, blah blah blah. Close it out, and then we'll go ahead and save it. Now it should show up. So let's go in there, take a look. Oh, and I've got a error. Why do I have an error? Best overload is, did I forget to count parentheses again? I sure did. All right. Oh, actually, the other thing we're missing is the message type. I totally forgot to tell you guys about that. What you do is right after the string is you go ahead and you classify the message type. And the message type is another class. And you want it to, you see how there's all these different ones. This is what I was telling you about when we started writing this. All right, you've got error, info, warning, none. I go with info just because, you know, it is info. You can go with none, and then you won't get the little info thing symbol on it, but then nobody will know that it's informing you. And I actually did not count my parentheses wrong. Okay, so let's try that again. Save. And there it is. Bam, there you go. All right, so you notice I made this so it didn't overlap right away. But at the same time, I don't want it to always be down there, even if we're not using the window, right? Also, it scales all right, but what if it wasn't that big? What if it was much smaller? You see what I mean? Or it doesn't scale is what I'm trying to get at. It just crunches it down. It word wraps. So we need to go ahead and play with this a little bit and find out how we can fix that. All right, so we've obviously got a height that we're setting here in the 100, okay? And that only actually needs to be around, 20 or 30 with what we have here. But let's say you have this about 100 times, then that's going to change. So let's do that real quick just because I'm feeling silly today. Okay. All right. And actually, I don't want to put that there. There we go. Okay, so like I was saying, that's going to shoot me an error if I ever saw one. Okay, like I was saying, so this is probably a little bit big, so we can knock that down to 50 or whatever we want. But we want this to actually show down here and move this down here when we're using it, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to set a value here, and we're going to do that right here, and we're going to call it info adjustment. All right, because that's what we're doing. We're going to call it info adjustment. And we'll put that there, info adjustment is going to be equal to 60. All right, and actually we don't define that variable, so throw that up here. Info adjustment is going to be a float, and then it's going to be equal, actually it's not going to be equal to anything because we're going to tell it what it equals right here. All right, so if show info, info adjustment is going to equal 60. But if show info is not true, then we want info adjustment to equal 0. All right, and there's a reason for that. That way it shows up or it doesn't. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add in info adjustment to this total right here. And then we're going to add in the normal distance that it should be, which is, well, not 40. What was it? 45? 50? Somewhere in there? Yeah, I think that's what it was, 50. Okay. Plus, all right, that. All right, so if we save that, now we should get this, and it moves when we're not using it. See? All right, and as I was saying before, if you get that too close, you notice the box is not changing sizes. And then if you'll also notice, we don't have any scroll bars or any of that stuff, right? And we certainly don't have enough room that if we were to make a scroll bar, it would totally cut that off right here on the side. See? All right, so we still got a lot of work to do, but I think that we've gone pretty long on this video. I just wanted to get that important bit out, and then we'll go ahead and continue on the info box and setting the scale and the start thinking about how we're going to do our scrolling bars on the next video. All right, thank you for watching.